Finally, again, another round of PPP, Printed Photography Pickups, a series over here on this channel where I am openly celebrating my addiction for photo books and everything related. And in this episode we have something pretty interesting and pretty diverse again, so I would say, let's jump right in. So first up we have this wonderful photo book here, which is called Goodnight, Wuhan by Matt J. Neale, which I discovered because Matt also has a YouTube channel and published a video about this book, and when I watched it I knew immediately that I wanted to get my hands on a copy. And as the title already says, the images in here are all located in the city of Wuhan, which we might know because of the recent circumstances and the outbreak of the pandemic in 2020, but these images were actually taken way before that, because Matt moved to Wuhan in 2016 and stayed for 4 years, and during that time he fell in love with the city and also with photography. So this book focuses on the nightlife of Wuhan, and we have a very big variety of different scenes ranging from portraits to cityscapes to buildings, architecture, but also like more street photography style images. I really like the contrast of images because sometimes we have these almost quiet and calm feeling scenes of buildings from above where you can definitely sense that the city is still alive and busy, and on the other hand we have these more or less hectic street images of people being on food markets, going on into their kind of daily or nightly business. And I think the arrangement is just really beautifully made. I like the contrast, I like the colors, and as you might know, I'm also a big fan of night photography, so this definitely tickles the itch to go out and shoot some more during the night. I also appreciate that you can feel that Matt is not a tourist in the city, but he surely knows the city and explored a lot of the corners, probably knows the city like his, pocket of his jacket, and spent some good time here, and you can definitely feel that also in the arrangement of the images. So if you are into colorful, vivid, hectic, but at the same time also kind of soothing and calm night photography shots, this is definitely something for you. And I have to say that I think the number of copies is limited. I already have copy number 53 out of 100, so if you are interested in this book, I think you should better be fast and check out ADM Publishing, because this is the publisher of the book, and see if they have any left. And next up we have this zine here called Grit by Garon Kiesel, and for disclosure, Garon sent me this zine as a gift, and I try to not include only gifts in the PPP series because I want to show you like what I really and authentically spent my money on. But when I flipped this for the first time, I knew that I wanted to show it to you as well. And Grit is a zine that was made by using only Holga cameras and only one type of film stock, namely Ilford HP5. And regarding the kind of equipment, the project seemed kind of enclosed or restricted, but also regarding the subject, it is very, very kind of restricted because all of the images you will see in here are actually of power poles. And a project around power poles might sound maybe a bit monotonous or boring at first glance, but I think it's just the opposite, because it really shows how much care Garon laid into the composition and the framing of the images, and how in-depth he went with the whole project to get such a broad variety of shots with a very kind of narrow target theme. You can see the power poles from different perspectives in different locations, different kind of distances. Sometimes you have a plain shot, sometimes you have double exposures, sometimes they're like the center of attention, and sometimes they're more in the background, and they are paired with different kind of things like leaves or houses or streets. And I think it's just a very kind of broad variety of shots, all paired with this very nice, gritty looking look of probably pushed Ilford HP5, which I really, really like. And for me, this zine is just such a wonderful example that you don't need to look for something fancy or extraordinary when looking for a project to shoot, but you just need something that kind of sparks your interest, and sparks your interest in combination with power poles is kind of funny, but you know what I mean. You don't need anything fancy, but sometimes we have things that are just in front of us that would make for a wonderful project if we dive in, take the effort and kind of think outside of the box on how to present it. All in all, I just think that Garon did a really wonderful job on this project, and it definitely inspired me to not go crazy when thinking about projects, but sometimes it can be something small, something mundane even, that sparks your interest. And next up we have something that I'm very excited about, because I actually wanted to have some of the earlier publications by this photographer, but was always too slow because they were all already out of print. So this time I made sure to be on time for the Kickstarter project. And you can see that it's wrapped in a kind of proof print of the book itself, which I think is really cool. And I am going to unwrap it and show it to you in a second. Now, let's put this aside. So this is how it looks like. This is the book called Räuber by Kern. And this is a very personal project where Josh, a photographer from Germany actually, is documenting his relationship to his younger brother Jascha. And I tried to gather some information about this book, and as I understood correctly, Josh was already 15 when his half-brother Jascha was born, and Josh already moved out of his home because he went to a different city to study 3 years after that, which made it kind of hard for him to properly get to know his little baby brother. And last year, in 2020, he started to visit his home more often and also take more photos of his home, which also led him to taking more photos of Jascha, which kind of naturally grew into this project where he documented their time and relationship together. And all these moments feel kind of raw and pure and vulnerable and honest to me, because it's just two brothers with a huge age gap, running around, playing together, having fun together. There's a lot of images of them running around the farm, playing with the chickens, playing with the horses, shaving each other's heads, going to family celebrations. And as raw as the moments seem to me, so do the photos themselves, because there's a lot of imperfections on the images. There's scratch on it, there's dust specks on them, there's white balance issues on them, light leaks and flares and stuff like that. And I think many photographers would correct this in post, but here I feel like it's a very conscious decision to leave these imperfections in, to kind of stress the rawness and vulnerability that these images transport for me. And apart from the images, we sometimes also have these newspaper articles or notes or little drawings, and all these little things that give the images and the book a very personal and very kind of deep sensation, in my opinion. And there's also a little kind of film or movie that Josh made that is accompanying this book that you can also watch on YouTube, where you can see behind the scenes images, where you can see interviews between the brothers and a little bit of commentary on this book, which I think was also really fascinating. And by far my favorite part of this interview was when Josh was interviewing Jascha about his favorite animal, about an activity he would like to have more time for, or what he thinks would be beneficial for everybody on this world. And Jascha's answer was always chickens. And I don't know why, but I feel like we can learn a lot from that. And I will just leave you with this comment. So just one more time, such a beautiful book, very personal, very deep, and I'm still in awe, and I cannot recommend this enough. And lastly, we have these two pocket-sized books that I found for a very cheap discount price at an art museum bookstore. And the first one is about Meyerowitz and the other one is about Goldin, and both belong to the Phaidon publisher and to a series called 55. And I have to admit that I don't know if there's 55 books in total, but at least there are several books focusing on several photographers, where you will get a kind of quick overview about the photographer and also get to see their kind of most known or most famous photos. And in the beginning you can read up about the photographer, get all the most kind of important or interesting facts about their biography, also learn why they made their path in photography and how they got more known and more famous, and all of that, which I think is really interesting to read, a more profound information that is more deep and informative than something like a Wikipedia entry. So this is really nice that you will get all the quick information before diving into their work. And in the course of the book, you will see a lot of the most known images by the photographer, as here, for example, by Meyerowitz, paired with some information about the image, like for example the location and the year this image was taken in, also accompanied by some quotes of the photographer, which I think is really cool to get some direct kind of thoughts and quotes by the photographer themselves and not by like a second author or something. So to be honest, the images in this book are often rather small, and oftentimes I would prefer to have like a bigger book to see the details of an image more clearly, but this is simply not the purpose of this book. This book has the purpose to show you images in a smaller format, more like thumbnails on YouTube, to give you an image as some sort of quick inspiration. And for me, the books kind of serve exactly this purpose. You don't have to flip or read them chronologically, but you can open up any image, look at it, feel inspired, maybe don't, flip up another page, read a quote by the photographer, and it feels like some instant inspiration in little doses, which I think is really nice. I enjoy this more than I thought, to be honest. So what I especially like about these books is that you don't really get overwhelmed by a lot of text in the books or almost too much background information, but it's like kind of snappy, just the most important thing, just the most important images, the most important quotes, and it helps you to kind of focus on the main thing about the photographer. And also, if you're not up to reading so much, I think this is just a good compromise to get a little bit of behind the scenes info without being overwhelmed by too much text, for example. So as I said, there are many more photographers who are part of the series, like for example Moriyama or Edgett or Sudek I found online, but these were the only ones I could find at the store. And I would say they are definitely a recommendation, especially if you can find them for a little cheaper price than the original listing, because one book is usually 15 euros, which I find a bit much. But if you are looking for something that is not overwhelming, that is just kind of a quick inspiration or a first footstep into a photographer's work, I can definitely recommend these. There's actually one more thing that I picked up that is not a printed medium per se, but which definitely helps with printed media, which is this here. This is the BenQ WiT reading lamp, which is a lamp that was specifically designed for people who either work on the computer a lot or for people who work a lot with printed media, such as photographers. And during this whole video, this lamp helped me to illuminate the books and zines that I was showing you, because in the past I had like proper problems to film and record the parts of the books and zines for these videos, because oftentimes my light source was either too dark and I couldn't see enough, or it was too bright and it would reflect, or I couldn't get the color temperature right and the blacks and grays would look kind of different on camera than they do to me in real life. So I knew that at some point I would have to get something proper. So I was very happy when BenQ reached out and asked if I wanted to give this lamp a try. And this actually solves the problems, because it's perfect for this purpose, because you can turn it on and off like this, and you have this knob where you can change the brightness, but also the color temperature. And this lamp also has the possibility to kind of adjust to the surrounding light, which is really nice. This helps me to view prints and books, then to record them, and also afterwards when I edit my videos, because I'm using this on top of my screen as well to reduce the stress from the eyes, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I thought I would share this with you as well. Firstly, because I thought that maybe there's somebody out there who might find this helpful as well. But secondly, because this will be my little helper friend from now on, and probably accompanying the series from now on. So you will see this on my desk or in the background when I'm showing you the prints. So yeah, let's continue. Or no, let's not continue, let's finish up. This was everything for today. So these were all the books and zines that I was going to show you. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope that there was something interesting for you as well. And as always, if there's anything printed that you have been interested in recently, let me or let us know so that we can check it out as well. And yeah, that said, I would say thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.